I'm Sawyer Drake. 29. Accountant. I live in Detroit, in an apartment I never decorated, with a wife who stopped asking where I go and a mother-in-law who never left. She doesn't pay rent. Doesn't lift a finger. But somehow, she walks through my kitchen like she owns the floor beneath her feet. There's a saying that goes, the loudest rooms are filled with silent resentment. Mine echoed every day. This morning, the front door was slightly open. Rain tapped the metal railing outside. A plastic grocery bag flapped in the wind. I stepped inside. The refrigerator was open. Light bleeding out, food mostly gone. Elara was already seated at the kitchen table. No hello. Just a bite of cold chicken, chewed slowly. She didn't blink. You're up early, I said. I never sleep deeply when I'm safe, she replied, not looking at me. She wore Lydia's old college sweatshirt. It was inside out. I noticed her phone face down on the table, fingerprint sensor smudged. A red stain near the lens. I moved past her toward the sink. Dishes. Grease floating in brown water. None of it mine. I opened the fridge again. 1 egg. Mustard. Half a slice of deli turkey. My meal prep containers were gone. When did you get here? I asked. I never left. That made my breath itch. I checked the clock. 6:02 a.m. My body tightened. Lydia didn't say you were staying. Elara smiled. Lydia doesn't know I'm still here. My phone buzzed. I didn't check it yet. I just stared at her hands. Pale. Ringless. One nail cracked and torn. She wiped her mouth, stood, poured herself black coffee from the pot I brewed last night. No hesitation. No shame. Then she turned to me. You've been sleeping late, she said. Tired of pretending you belong here? What do you mean by that? She sipped. Silence again. I checked my phone. Voicemail from my dad. I tapped play. Sawyer, just checking in. I've been thinking. Why doesn't your mother-in-law work? It's weird, right? Just seems off. Anyway, call me back. I locked my phone and glanced up. Elara was gone from the kitchen. Bedroom door shut. Locked. I stepped closer. Placed my ear near the wood. The creak of drawers. Something metal scraping tile. Then nothing. Lydia didn't come home that night. She texted, work late. Stay up if you want. Don't wait. No punctuation. No emoji. Just that dull blade tone I'd grown used to. That night, I barely slept. At 2:47 a.m., I heard the shower turn on. She wasn't in it. It was Elara. I never heard her leave the bedroom. She stepped out an hour later. Dried hair. Same sweatshirt. You ever hear the phrase, some things rot from the inside? She asked, walking to the fridge. I didn't answer. She pulled out the last egg. Cracked it directly into her mouth. Swallowed. I used to work, she said finally. Before I realized the world doesn't reward labor. It rewards leverage. I said nothing. She smiled wider. Question is, what do you think you're worth when your name's all you have? The next morning, a letter arrived. Certified mail. Brown envelope. Government seal. From the IRS. I tore it open, standing barefoot in my hallway. Notice of investigation, tax evasion. Total amount in question, $56,000. Falsified signatures. Fraudulent accounts. Alleged beneficiary, Sawyer Drake. I dropped the paper. My hands went numb. Behind me, a coffee cup clinked softly. I told you, Elara said from the kitchen doorway, calm as death, you should have kept sleeping. I didn't know it yet, but I was living with two strangers, and neither one wanted me to survive the month. Detroit rain has a smell oily, bitter, metallic. I stood under it, soaked, outside the IRS field office downtown. My shoes squished with every step inside. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The security guard didn't ask for my name, he just handed me a plastic visitor badge and waved me through. I didn't ask how he knew. Third floor. Room 317. Frosted glass. Blurred silhouettes moving behind it. The agent's name was Mira Talcott. Sharp voice. No smile. She wore a navy blazer and didn't offer a handshake. Mr. Drake, she said, sliding a folder across the table. We flagged your name on 3 shell corporations, registered in Delaware, Wyoming, and Nevada. All within the last 90 days. I blinked. That's impossible. She tapped a photo. My name. My signature. They match Social Security, license, bank authorizations. All verified. I never signed these. Then someone did, with enough of your data to pass KYC screening. Which means either you're lying, or someone very close to you isn't. I felt my ribs tighten. People don't get framed for fun, she continued. They get framed when they're disposable. Cut to. Security footage. Grainy. A man in my coat. My walk. My key card. Entering my office building at 2:47 a.m. That timestamp again. He pulled a laptop bag from the drawer. Plugged in a flash drive. Looked up at the camera. Blurred face. Still. Same shoes. Same slump. Same height. I said nothing. Mira didn't look away. The IRS doesn't handle criminal prosecution, she said. But the Treasury Department does. She slid a card across the table. Federal Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. I stood, hands numb. Where's your wife now? She asked. I didn't answer. Cut scene. I called Lydia from the parking lot. Straight to voicemail. Tried again. This time, she picked up. Where are you? I said. Busy. Don't call me at work. Did you open any accounts in my name? Pause. That's what you're calling about? Sawyer, you shouldn't be asking questions about money. Just let it go. She hung up. Wind hit hard. I leaned against the parking meter. Every sound became a threat. Footsteps. Horns. Brakes. Someone was watching. I could feel it in my teeth. Back home. Elara sat on the couch like she'd never moved. Watching a muted cooking show. The same plate from earlier was on the table. Same uneaten crust. You left early, she said, not looking up. Did you use my name for anything? Her eyes flicked toward me. No. I mean legal documents. Taxes. Anything. She blinked. Why would I need your name when I already have the address? I walked past her. Bedroom. Locked. Again. I waited by the door until I heard the shower. I moved fast. Her phone was on the nightstand. No lock screen. Hidden folder in the photo gallery. Named miscellaneous receipts. I tapped it. There they were, photos of Lydia. In a red dress. Arm linked with a man in a dark suit. Laughing. Hugging. Kissing his cheek. My old boss. Colin Meyer. Cut to. Bank of Detroit. I handed over my ID. Asked to review recent transactions. The clerk tapped her keyboard, paused, frowned. Your account's been flagged. You'll need to speak to Fraud Division. Another woman came out, held a clipboard. Mr. Drake, she said. It appears your accounts were drained last week. 3 cashier's checks. 2 wires. She showed me copies. The cosigner on the wire? Elara Voss. I felt my knees weaken. How is that possible? She's not on my account. She is now. The name was added 2 months ago. Via notarized letter, verified at branch ID. The signature was mine. Slanted. Accurate. But not mine. She has access to all your assets, the woman added, matter of fact. Even the retirement one. I stepped out into the street, heart pounding, fingers shaking. A woman brushed past me on the sidewalk. Blonde hair. Same height as Lydia. I followed her for a block before realizing it wasn't her. You ever feel like your life's being lived by someone else? I muttered. Cut scene. Night. Back home. I stared at the TV. It was off. Reflection stared back. Elara walked in. Sat beside me. Close. Too close. You're sweating, she said. I said nothing. Stress kills men faster than bullets. Still silence. She leaned closer. Want some advice? She whispered. Don't chase ghosts. You'll forget you're the one bleeding. She stood. Walked to her room. The lock clicked. I sat frozen. There's only one reason someone puts your name on a crime you didn't commit. They need you to disappear. It was 3:08 a.m. The street outside pulsed with sirens. I sat on the floor in the dark, knees pulled to my chest, watching Elara sleep in my bed. Lydia still hadn't come home. That bed used to mean something. Now it just felt staged, like a set piece in a life I didn't belong to. Elara's breathing was slow, steady. She looked peaceful. She shouldn't have. A part of me wanted to wake her up and scream. Instead, I opened my laptop and fired a message to Jonas Everett, an old college friend, now a freelance IT investigator. The subject line was short, I'm being erased. Cut to the coffee shop on Livernois. Late morning. Jonas slid into the booth opposite me. Worn hoodie. Coffee-stained fingers. He didn't bother with small talk. You brought the files? I handed over a thumb drive, shaking slightly. Bank records. Screenshots. Emails. And something I found in Elara's trash folder. A partial deed registration. Jonas plugged it into his laptop, eyes darting. Jesus. What? This apartment, he said, pointing. It was bought in cash. 5 years ago. Through a trust owned by a shell company out of Tampa. So? He turned the screen. The company's owner is Elara Voss. I felt my throat close. I thought Lydia owned the lease. There is no lease, he said flatly. You've been living in Elara's property this whole time. That sentence was a blade. She installed you, Jonas said, voice low. She owns the walls around you. And she can prove you've lived rent-free, makes you look like a dependent. I stared at the floor. You ever hear the phrase real control is invisible, he added. She doesn't just own your apartment. She owns your narrative. Cut scene. I went home. Door unlocked. Inside, Elara was lighting candles. The air smelled like lemon oil and scorched fabric. She turned slowly when I walked in. I thought you'd want dinner, she said. I'm not hungry. She smiled. That's okay. Hunger's never been your problem. She walked into the kitchen. I followed. Why is this apartment in your name? I asked. She didn't answer. I saw the deed. Still silence. Elara, I said, what are you doing to me? She turned, slowly. Eyes glinting in candlelight. You think your life just happened? She whispered. Sweetheart, you were drafted into it. I stepped back. You were convenient. Smart enough to trust, dumb enough to doubt yourself. The walls felt tighter. I don't want your money, I said. You have none, she replied. I made sure of that. Cut scene. That night, I opened the hallway closet. Behind the winter coats, I found a locked safe. I'd never noticed it before. I tried Lydia's birthday. No luck. Ilara's. Nothing. Then I tried my own. Click. Inside, a burner phone, a flash drive, and a sealed envelope with my name on it. I opened the envelope. Inside, a fake passport. Sawyer Dane. Born in Ontario, Canada. I stared at it like it might explode. On the flash drive, documents. Legal transfers. Signatures. Evidence that I had sold Lydia my share of our joint assets 6 months ago. A prenup I never signed. A video of me drunk, slurring yes on a couch I didn't remember. I checked the phone. One number saved. CM. Colin Meyer. I tried to call it. Disconnected. Cut scene. At 2:11 a.m., I sat in the living room. Ilara emerged in silence, holding a small wooden box. She handed it to me. Calm. Deliberate. Inside, a non-disclosure agreement, notarized, blank date. Along with a photo. Me. Asleep. Next to a bag of cash. My signature was on the NDA. What is this? I asked. She tilted her head. Leverage. You forged all of it. I protected all of it. She stepped closer. You think identity is about memory? No, Sawyer. Identity is about proof. And right now, all the proof says you're a man who got greedy, then disappeared. I stood, fists clenched. You're not getting away with this. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I already did. You don't walk away from a woman who's built empires in your name. You crawl out and pray you weren't her final asset. The address Jonas sent pulsed on my phone like a warning. An industrial strip near the Detroit River. Storage units stacked like coffins. Sodium lights buzzing. Rain slicked the asphalt into mirrors. I parked 2 blocks away. Habit now. Survival. People say the truth hides where no one looks twice. That's a lie. The truth hides where everyone assumes it's boring. Unit 317. The lock was new. The key, taped beneath the lip of the doorframe. Inside, cold air. Dust. The smell of metal and old paper. A single bulb flickered overhead, stuttering like a bad pulse. Boxes. Labeled. Dates. Names. My name. I opened the first box. Bank statements. Power of attorney forms. Notarized. Perfect. Another box, USB drives. Phones. Burner phones. Each labeled with a man's name. Dates of engagement. Dates of closure. A photo slid out. Me. Asleep. On my couch. I swallowed. Another photo. Different angle. Same couch. Same night. Ilara's shadow visible on the wall, stretched thin like a blade. She never came empty-handed, I whispered. She came prepared. Cut scene. Footsteps. Close. I turned. Too late. Metal whistled through air. Pain exploded across my shoulder. I went down hard, breath punched out of me. The bulb strobed. Darkness. Light. Darkness. A silhouette raised a crowbar. I rolled. The bar cracked concrete where my head had been. I kicked. Connected. The figure stumbled back, mask slipping. Tristan? I gasped. Tristan Hale. The friend who verified data. The one who told me to be careful. His eyes were flat. Apologetic. You weren't supposed to find this, he said. We circled. My shoulder burned. Blood slicked my sleeve. You sold me out. He shrugged. You were already sold. He lunged. I ducked. Grabbed a box. Threw it. Papers burst into the air like confetti. Names. Faces. Lives. I ran. Outside, sirens. Someone had tripped the alarm. I vaulted a fence, tore my palm open on rusted wire, didn't stop. Cars screamed past. Rain soaked my face, washed blood into my mouth. I didn't look back. They say panic narrows your world. That's wrong. Panic widens it until you see everything you should have noticed before. Cut scene. Motel. Off I-75. Flickering sign. No cameras facing the door. I checked anyway. Twice. I locked the room. Pushed the dresser against it. Sat on the bed, shaking. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered without speaking. You shouldn't have gone there, Alara said. Her voice was calm. Warm. Like she was calling to remind me of dinner. I saw everything, I said. She laughed softly. Of course you did. Curiosity is your flaw. You've been doing this for years. For decades, she corrected. People don't notice patterns when they're comfortable. I thought of the boxes. The phones. The names. You groom them, I said. You insert them into lives. Drain them. Erase them. Men like you, she said, are already halfway gone. You just needed direction. Why me? A pause. You were the last clean exit, she said. No children. No siblings who'd fight. A father who trusts systems. My jaw clenched. You think this ends with me disappearing? It ends, she said. That's the only certainty. The line went dead. Cut scene. Jonas arrived an hour later. Pale. Shaking. I traced the storage unit, he said. It's registered under a dead woman's name. Died 3 years ago. Overdose. She was Alara's college roommate. I laughed. A sharp, broken sound. Of course she was. Jonas handed me a tablet. Photos. Court filings. Insurance claims. Her husband's, he said. 3. All dead. Accidents. Boating. Falls. Each insured. Each beneficiary, Alara. Or a trust she controls. I leaned back. Closed my eyes. There's a saying I used to believe, evil hides behind chaos. Turns out, evil loves spreadsheets. Jonas hesitated. There's more. Just say it. You're not the only active target. You're just the one who noticed. I stood. My shoulders screamed. We go public. He shook his head. Not yet. You go public too early, you become noise. You need leverage. I thought of the photos. The NDA. The fake passport. She built an empire on borrowed lives, I said. I'm not borrowing mine back. I'm taking it. A knock at the door. 3 sharp raps. Jonas froze. Police, he whispered. I checked the peephole. Empty hallway. The door creaked. I felt it then, the certainty, cold and precise. She didn't just feed on my life, she built her empire from the bones of mine. The motel walls were paper thin. Every car door slam felt like an explosion. I could almost hear Elara's voice in the static. Control is invisible. I pulled the curtains. Dawn still hours away. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes and stared at the ceiling, willing it to make sense. It wouldn't. Jonas texted a meeting point, library parking, First and Woodward. No time. No extra words. I grabbed my jacket. Pockets lined with chargers and thumb drives. Heart already pounding. Outside, the rain slicked the pavement. Shadows lengthened under street lamps. Every passerby looked pointed, like they were meant to be someone else entirely. I reached the library. Jonas was pacing. He glanced at me. Found something else, he said, breath thin. He handed me a tablet. Another photo. A file titled Final Phase. I felt my stomach drop. The image was from Elara's desktop, screenshots of bank transfers, encrypted but traceable. Not just mine. Others. Far more accounts than I ever knew existed. Why would she need all this? I breathed. Jonas didn't answer. He just pulled out his own laptop. Look at the metadata, he said. These transfers date back a decade. And the shell entities are interlinked with insurance policies, investment trusts, real estate, offshore portfolios. My head spun. Wait. You mean I didn't finish? Not just your identity, Jonas said. She recycles people. Their names become assets. Their absence becomes profit. A shuttle bus rumbled past. Lights flashing. People oblivious. We need more evidence, I said. Proof that connects her name to all of this. Not just files. Jonas met my eyes. I found something else, he said. Her first partner was married. The husband died in a boating accident. The insurance claim was $2 million. Elara was co-beneficiary. I felt cold. Accident, I muttered. Is that a euphemism? Cut scene. Back in the motel room, I opened the closet safe again. The fake passport. The NDA. The thumb drive with the lies stacked like bricks in my life. Then another drawer. A slim envelope, white, pristine. No markings. I slid it out. Inside, a plane ticket. Tokyo. 2 days ago. My breath hitched. I rifled through the drawer, another ticket, same handwriting. Zurich. Hong Kong. These weren't vacations. They were transfers. Migrations. Moves designed to erase. I felt watched. My phone buzzed, one missed call from an unknown number. I dialed back. Click. A voice. You shouldn't dig into the bedrock, Sawyer. It fractures easily. The line dropped. I jumped. Wind howled through the cracked window. The wall seemed closer now. Cut scene. Late afternoon. I drove to a UPS store Jonas suggested. I handed over envelopes with copies of everything we had. Bank records. Metadata logs. Screenshots. Photos of deed registrations. Insurance claims. The clerk said nothing. Didn't look up. Shipping to legal counsel, she asked. I nodded. FedEx same day, she said. I signed. The pen felt heavy. As I stepped out, I saw a man across the street, black jacket, cap low, watching me. He didn't move. Just stared. My breath froze. I crossed to my car without looking back. Cut scene. That night I couldn't sleep. My body trembled with adrenaline. Voices echoed in my head. You recycle men like they're stamps. Identity is proof. You are disposable. Then a knock. 1. 2. Hard. I didn't answer. Then the hallway light flickered. Another knock. Louder. My hand reached for the baseball bat I kept under the bed. Door cracked open, just a sliver. Shadow. Elara, I whispered. No words. Only movement. She stepped in, silent, like she belonged. The lights popped, gone. Dark except for the city glow through the blinds. Her voice was soft. I see you trying to build a case. I raised the bat. She didn't flinch. You don't understand, she said. It's bigger than us. I hesitated. She took a step closer. Your disappearance was scheduled next week, she said. My grip tightened. You weren't useful anymore. I felt rage. Fear. Something deeper, betrayal that ran beyond logic. Why me? I hissed. Because you trusted, she said. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She checked it. Face changed. A text. Then she crushed the device in her hand, no look back. Screen shattered. I thought I saw fear. Just for a heartbeat. Then she was calm again. Don't make this harder, she said. I lifted the bat. She blinked once. Then smiled. I know what you're hiding. Before I could react. She vanished into the shadows. My heart thundered. I checked the mirror. Footsteps in the corridor. One pair. Slow. Purposeful. There's no running anymore. I wasn't her husband. I was her insurance policy. The night was black and humming. A helicopter thumped in the distance. Lightning flashed, brief, false daylight across the Detroit skyline. I stood in the shadows of the rooftop garden. Cold wind carried rain off Lake St. Clair. The gala below, crystal glasses, silver suits, champagne smiles, unaware they were dancing on a wire. Jonas' voice buzzed in my ear. Camera is live. Federal IDs confirmed. You're clear. I didn't relax. Not yet. A guard walked past, badge clipped low, gun low slung. Eyes scanning. Not looking at me. Good sign. I checked the small camera hidden in my pocket. Low battery. Time running. They were streaming the gala to law enforcement, investors, every news outlet ready to expose Elara's empire. I adjusted my tie. Black. Sober. A man ready to end this. The elevator dinged. 2 security guards stepped out. Guns raised. Not at me. At the crowd. Confusion hit fast. A woman screamed. Glasses shattered. Running feet on marble. I slipped through giggling guests in couture dresses and high collars. A chandelier above us shook, like an earthquake in slow motion. I saw her then. Lydia. Not in fear. Smiling. Flawless. She raised her hand. A signal. The chaos wasn't random. The guards weren't confused. They were waiting. Cut scene. A flash. A camera. And there she was, Elara, standing beside Lydia in the grand hall. 2 queens in a maze they built. They clapped. Slow. Like releasing a curtain. Like watching prey stumble into a snare. I ducked as shots rang, blank rounds, thank God, just to intimidate. Lights flickered. Lydia stepped forward. Clear voice. Ladies and gentlemen, she said. Welcome to the future. Her voice was sharp. Economic philosophy disguised as elegance. Nothing human. Nothing redeeming. They thought they were untouchable. I thought of a phrase. When power goes unchecked, it becomes delusion. Saw it now, in her eyes. I didn't walk. I ran. Towards her. Security scrambled. I hit the velvet rope, then the marble floor. Lydia turned. Her eyes widened. Elara stepped forward, cold as ash. You should have left when you had a choice, she said. I stood, soaked from rain, nerves wired, energy burning. You think this ends with me disappearing? I said, voice tight. No. This ends with truth. Jonas triggered the next file. Screens on every smart device in the room flickered. Documents. Transfers. Insurance policies. Shell corporations. All traced, legally, irrefutably, to Lydia and Elara. Gasps. No applause. Faces turned. The CEO of the investment fund backed up. Phones buzzed. International finance news alerts popped on screens. I saw real fear then. Not staged. Not performance. True fear. But Lydia didn't flinch. She smiled again. Truth is what we make it, she said, stepping to the microphone. But evidence, I cut in, voice rising. She laughed. Thin. Evidence is subjective, she said. Until you sign. She held up a small flash drive. My stomach plunged. She tossed it to me. I caught it. Black metal. Smooth. I opened the drive. Nothing. Empty. My breath stopped. Distraction. Reveal. Elara's laugh echoed. Did you really think we'd expose ourselves on your terms? She tapped a button on a remote. Sirens wailed below. Police. FBI. SWAT. They stormed the entrance. Not for me. But for them. The soundtrack, boots, radios, shouts. All chaos. A guard turned to run. Slipped on marble, fell. Gun clattered. The room froze. Elara's eyes widened. Not with fear. With calculation. Lydia fell back a step. I saw her vulnerability, thin, jagged, human, just a flicker. Then gone. Swallowed by resolve. Cut scene. Horns. Flashing lights. Commands over loudspeakers. Elara raised her hands. Lydia beside her. Police cuffs clicked. No restraint needed. They stopped resisting. Their empire collapsing like cheap plaster. I stepped forward. Rain still falling. Lightning cracked. I looked up. That phrase again, echo in the night. A life built on borrowed identity has no foundation. And it was true. I was free legally now. No shell corporations. No forged titles. No debts in my name. But I was not the same man. Not at all. Outside, Jonas approached. You okay? He said. I exhaled, slow. Controlled. This isn't over, I said. It is, he said. I shook my head. It's over for them, I corrected. For me, just beginning. Cut scene. The courthouse steps, daylight. Reporters shouting questions I didn't answer. My father stood there, solid, unshakable. Behind him, a small manila envelope. I opened it. Inside, a note. Truth isn't survival. Truth is freedom. No signature. But I knew whose handwriting it resembled. I folded it. Pockets warm in the cold morning air. A new dawn. I turned toward the street. No fear. No threat. Just open space. I walked forward. Because a life taken from you can be returned. One truth at a time.